Welcome to All the Stitches. This is a channel about quilting, knitting, counter cross stitch, needlework, and whatever crafty thing I might be up to. My name is Colleen, and I'm coming to you from the Lakes region of New Hampshire in the United States. Today's show is episode 21, and I have today some knitting finishes, needlework finishes, quilting, needlepoint. So first let me apologize. My last video in episode 20, for some reason my audio and my video were not synced. And it was only after I'd uploaded the whole thing to YouTube, which takes overnight to do because of my poor internet service. And I think that's probably why it didn't sync, because of my internet service was not good that day. But hopefully this one is better. I checked early on to make sure it was recording in sync, and it was, so hopefully it's continued. Some of these finishes were gifts that have now been sent off to the new owner, but I took good pictures of them and I will put them up on the screen as I talk about them. So something I have here live, my big finish is another sweater. And it is the Throwover sweater by Andrea Mowry. I've shown you this as I've gone along. And here is the sweater. The yarn is, the gray yarn is Magpie fiber, nest worsted weight yarn, and the color work is made from 3 different Spincycle yarns. I will put a picture up so you can get a better look at it. It was a fast knit because it was worsted weight, and it's also somewhat cropped, which if I were to make it again, I would probably drop it down another inch, but soaking it and blocking it helped to drop it down to a point where I would actually wear it. So that's good. And the good news is that sweater was on my Make 9 list for 2021. Yay! So there's another check off of my Make 9 list. So let's see, I have 3 things done. This quilt is in process. I'm not sure if that's good or not. We'll see. No pressure. I had made 3 sweaters in a row. And then I decided, well, maybe it's time for a break, because I found myself like just wanting to get through that and get it done. So I heard some people use the term palette cleanser for a small project in between bigger projects, and I thought that was a great idea. So I went through my stash and I found that I had this yarn from Unique, and it's a beautiful, beautiful worsted weight yarn. It's hand-dyed, self-striping, extra fine merino, and it is most certainly extra fine. It's beautiful. So I made this cowl. And as you can see, it is such beautiful colors and self-striping yarn. And at first I thought, oh, it's not very wide, but I think it's good. You know, I haven't blocked it, so it'll relax a little bit. But I think it'll be a nice, squishy, warm cowl to wear under a coat or something in the winter. But I just love the colors, and they were reminding me of the garden coming up and the spring flowers and the irises and the garden yet to come this summer. So it was truly a palette cleanser. All I did was I started with a 2x2 rib cast on for 2 inches, and then knit in the round stockinette until I had 15 grams of yarn left. Those kitchen scales really come in handy. And then I did the same thing, a 2-inch ribbing on the bottom, and I feel ready to start another project, and I have a beautiful cowl. My next finish is a kind of cross stitch finish called Legendary Girls, and I showed it to you last time before I framed it. So it's now been framed and it's been sent off to 3 lovely little legendary girls that I know. And I'm going to put a picture up for you to take a look. The frame I bought as a custom frame. There's a company called Custom Frame Solutions, and they will create a frame. You pick the frame, they create the frame, the custom sized frame, and you can order a glass if you want, custom size, and you order the foam core board. And it's so nice to get it all together. It doesn't cost as much as a framing, bringing it to a framer and having it framed. I skip that step, save a little bit of money, and have what looks like a custom frame project. So I was very thrilled to send this off and receive a thank you with the photos of these girls standing around this cross-stitch piece. So that was very exciting. And the Legendary Girls pattern is a pattern from Tumbleweeds, which is a division of Little House Needleworks. Since I don't have it in front of me, always check the description box below this video. I will put in any details about any projects or any products that I mention down below. My next project is also something that I have sent off to the new owner, and that is the elephant, the stuffed patchwork elephant that I showed you in my last episode, as well as the quilt that went along with it. And this was a project made with lots of love for a dear friend of ours, Sue. And Sue is going to have her first grandchild. Well, not her, but her daughter is. And so 2 other friends and myself decided we would make her a quilt. And we knew that her daughter liked elephants, so we decided on this very simple quilt with the elephants in the center and the patchwork elephant to go with it. So that was a great way for the 3 of us to do something special for a dear friend. And what we did, and we're all in different locations and obviously not getting together these days, not quite yet. I cut everything out. I sent the pieces to 2 friends. Each of them sewed half the blocks, sent them back to me. I put the quilt together, and we had it machine quilted. And so it was a great way we all felt part of it, and it was a lot of fun, and she really appreciated it. Now, the next project is also something that I've sent off. So here's a picture of the entire gift. This was one of my husband's nephews and his wife. They had their second little baby girl. And that is, I've shown you that sheep quilt before. And again, that same pattern, very simple. It's all about the fabric and the little sheep in the fabric. In the package was also the little doll quilt that's going to these 2-year-old big sister, as well as the sheep jacket that showed to you a couple of times along the way in these episodes. And I found a book called The Sheepover that was just so adorable. I first saw it on another podcast called In a Pickle Knitting. In all her podcasts, she talks about a children's book, and she really finds the most adorable ones. And this was one that I saw in her podcast and knew it had to go with this little sheepy package that I was sending off. So now I am on to works in progress. I showed you the beginning of this project quite some time ago. I think it was way back in one of my early episodes about needlework, noteworthy needlework. And I've recently come back to it because I realized that I really would like to get it done. So after I finished the Legendary Girls kind of cross stitch, instead of starting another kind of cross stitch, I said I need to really get to work on this needlepoint. So here it is. And those of you who have watched some of my other podcasts know how much I love dogs, and particularly love Labradors, and how this looks so much like our dear dog Jack. And so this needlepoint canvas is a hand-painted canvas by Barbara Russell. I've had this for some time now, and I've just been pecking away at it. I am almost done with the background. And of course I started with the background because I thought, oh, if I do the dog first, I'll never want to do the background. So the dog is the reward. But I am almost done. I just have the darkest green, about half of the darkest green to go. And then I can move on to this dog. But I'll tell you one thing I have found after doing kind of cross stitch and embroidery and all kinds of other needlework. I used to do needlepoint when I was young, like in my 20s. I love to do needlepoint. But I have to tell you, I'm finding it really boring. And the only way, the only thing that's keeping me going is I can't wait to have this piece done and framed. But anyway, I do want to finish this. I'll keep going. I think it'll be my summer needlework project. And one day you will see it done. My next work in progress is a quilt, and the quilt top is done. It just needs to be quilted. So this, let me turn it this way. These are just half square triangles. They were cut 7-inch squares that were cut into half square triangles, and then 4 of them sewn together to form this windmill. And I just used 2 different fabrics, the purple, well, 3, the purple and the pink, and then the background that goes with both. And it's just a simple comfort size lap quilt. And this was done because my quilt group is starting to talk about getting together again, and we make comfort quilts for local area people in need or children in need, and we wanted to do a quick block that people could get together quickly, and maybe we could have a bunch of them. We're figuring after all is said and done with the way the world is going, I think there'll be a lot of need for comfort quilts. But this was really a quick and easy way of getting a whole quilt together in a short amount of time. And of course these half square triangles, which is, you know, just this, right? These 2 half square triangles. Of course, you can lay them out in any way you want. We chose to do this windmill style. So I think I'm going to finish this. I have some other, this is sort of girly, but I think with the pink and so forth, I found some baseball fabric with little baseballs on it, and I think I'm going to do another one that's more boyish and use that. And then make a bunch of blocks that we can throw into a pile and sort of have a scrappy, maybe some scrappy quilts to give away too. And this week I once again have another what jumped into my cart. But I couldn't resist it. I really couldn't. Is anyone out there a fan of the Gilmore Girls? The old show, you know, when it was on TV, it was on for so many seasons. I never watched it. It just didn't interest me. But I watched it now that it's been on Netflix and just couldn't stop watching it. I love the characters. I love the show so much. So I saw how Lady Di Yarns came out with a little project kit that had to do with the Gilmore Girls theme. And it came in this bag, the Gilmore Girls bag, with Luke's Diner, of course, coffee cup. And I'll show you what's in it. First of all, this yummy, yummy yarn. It's so pretty. It's a DK weight yarn. See, Gilmore Girls kit. It is the yarn by Lady Di Yarns. It is a cash merino, 80% merino, 10% cashmere, which is why it's so nice, and 10% nylon. It's a DK weight, and the color is Morticia. So you get the yarn, you got, Oh, you got a box of Girl Scouts Thin Mints. Now, I haven't had Girl Scout cookies in a couple of years because of COVID, and I haven't really, they haven't been selling them outside. So I was so thrilled to get the Thin Mints, I can't even tell you. And then you got these various stickers related to Gilmore Girls. Thought that was cute. Then you got these beads, a packet of beads. I had no idea why, because I hadn't gotten the pattern yet. And then these stitch markers that are all Gilmore Girl related. You know what, I don't have my glasses, so I can't even read them. But they're all related to Gilmore Girls, coffee cups and so forth. So then I finally got the pattern. Oh, here it is. And the pattern they sent you was from custom pattern by Vanessa Smith, Vanessa Smith Designs, and it was the Stars Hollow hat. So in the hat you use beads, so you do beading to when you make the hat. So which I've never done before, so I think it'll be a good opportunity to give that a try. I assume you can purchase this pattern somewhere. It's Stars Hollow, designed by Vanessa Smith, in case you're interested. I love things like that. It's like the Schitt's Creek yarn that has that theme, and if it's something that you really have loved and enjoyed, it's nice to have a theme like that. And now it's time for something old. Well, this is a quilt that I decided to show today because it's May. Yay, it's May. And it's a basket, of course, a May basket. So this is a quilt that I made in 1990. The basket pattern is the Carolina Lily pattern. I decided I didn't want to make any more of these blocks. It's like one was enough for me. And so what I did, I made one and then I built a little quilt around it. And as you can see, I was hand quilting a lot in those days, and my goodness, I was hand quilting really tiny stitches in those good old days. And I just absolutely covered it with quilting. And I hung this, it's a little bit faded, I'm not sure you can see how faded it is. It hung over my mantle in my old house for many years. And I used this shiny fabric is a polished cotton that I had found at it was really sort of an upholstery type fabric, but it's lightweight, it's not heavy. But I loved it. They were getting popular in those days, in the 90s. But this quilt hung in 1990. It hung at the New England Quilt Museum in Lowell, Massachusetts. And they were having a show, I'm checking my notes here. They were having a show called Bounty of Baskets. And it was in the fall of 1990. And I submitted this quilt, a picture of this quilt, and they accepted it to hang in the museum. And I was delighted. This was in the early days of the museum, really, and they were in their old first location in Market Street in Lowell. And so I was really delighted to be part of that exhibit. And I was all the makers were asked to come on opening night and stand by their quilt, which was like, ooh, that was scary to me. I had to do that. But I had a lot of friends that came and supported me, and family as well. And it was really fun. I still have the clipping from their newsletter. I saved it. And there I am. So that is a 1990 Carolina Lily basket for May. Well, guys, don't ask me how I managed to do this, but I forgot to video my ending of that episode you just watched. And so I'm back the next day, And yes, I have 2 shirts like this. And I just wanted to say a couple of things. The first being, after I filmed my episode, I watched Carla Knit's podcast's newest episode, and Carla tagged me in that episode. Thank you so much, Carla. She answered a series of questions. She was challenged by or tagged by Louise of Adventures with Yarn. And there are a series of fiber questions, yarn-related questions, and that she answered. And then she tagged me. So now I'm going to answer them, but I'm not going to do it today. I think I will, this is long enough, so I'm not going to do that today. I will do that in the next episode, or perhaps I'll film just a short episode in between, all about yarn or all about knitting. The final thing I wanted to say is, as usual, if you liked this video, please hit like, please subscribe so you'll be notified of future videos. It does really help us small little podcasters here, all the likes and all the comments you can make, because it helps us grow, it helps us to be more seen. And then it's a bigger community, and it just makes it a whole lot more fun. So I look forward to my next one, and I look forward to hearing from you and hearing your comments, or reading your comments, I should say. And until next time, I hope all of your stitches bring joy.